Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whenever it is you're tuning in. Welcome to Ticket Price, the show where we ask the only question that matters. Is the movie worth the ticket price? AKA, is it worth your money? I'm Jake. With me as always, co-host extraordinaire. And the only man who tried to get ready for the show, but he was busy thinking about boys. 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 He was dreaming about boys. 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 Head is spinning, thinking about boys. He needs that bad boy to do him right on a Friday. And he need that good one to wake him up on a Sunday. That one from work can come over on Monday night. He wants them all. He wants them all. And when they finally leave him all alone, but he's looking down and his girls are blowing up his phone, them 20 questions, they're asking him, where at? Didn't hit him back. He's sorry he missed your party. He's sorry he had a better excuse, like he had to trash a hotel lobby. But he was thinking about boys. 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 He was busy dreaming about boys. 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 His head spinning about boys.
What in the hell was that? Was that a Janet Jackson song?
Well, that was the song Boys by Charlie XCX. Thank you, Miss XCX. I don't know who that.
Who in the hell is that?
Oh.
We're going to get a copyright infringement.
Yeah, you know what? If we have to edit that out, I get it. I looked forward to that all week when I thought of that one. Tevis at Master Control, thinking about boys. How are you, sir?
Man, I don't know now. I'm
Head spinning?
Yeah, head spinning for different reasons.
Boys?
Boys. Boys.
Boys.
Boys. I've never heard that song in my entire life.
Yeah!
I'd look it up on my Spotify, but I don't want to screw up my algorithm.
Do it.
No.
Do it. Do it. Well, speaking of doing it, what are we doing? Oh, that's right. We're looking at movies.
Yes.
I could sit here and talk about men's fashions and make fun of you through song lyrics all day, but I'm afraid work must intrude. So, god damn, that was a hot fire quote right off the cuff. I am on fire today, baby. Boom.
I thought Hans Gruber was right here in the room.
Right? All right. We are looking at Captain Underpants, the first official movie.
Tra-la-la!
Tra-la-la! From 2017, written by Nicholas Stoller, Dave Pilkey, obviously, and David Soren, based on the Captain Underpants books by Dave Pilkey, directed by David Soren, starring Nick Kroll, Ed Helms, Kevin Hart, Thomas Middleditch. You're looking at me funny.
No, I was trying to think of the movies that I've seen him in.
I named a bunch of names. Who's him?
Middleditch.
Oh, yeah. He's a name I didn't recognize, but when I saw his picture, I went, oh, yeah, because he pops up in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and I seen this picture, and I have no idea. I know I've seen him in stuff.
Oh, gun to my head, I couldn't name one specific example other than he's one of those guys, you don't know their name, but he's in everything. He just kind of pops up. TV, movie, that dude's everywhere.
Yeah. And Ed Helms, I didn't realize he was the voice of the principal.
As a big Office fan, I caught it immediately.
See, I am not a big Office fan. I've tried watching it. Meh, it's okay.
I get that.
But I knew who he was, and I think he's funny, but I did not catch him voicing that character.
Well, we're going to get into that. All right. Ratings time. IMDb, 6.2.
A little low.
That one doesn't sit well with me.
No, it's a little too low.
Not even going into how high they've rated some other just real garbage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
comparison. No, not comparing anything. Just looking at just this movie, just this rating. That sits too low for me.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, 87%.
Okay.
And I went, yeah, there it is.
That's about right.
Budget made with an estimated $38 million, with a worldwide gross of 125.4. Animation ain't cheap, my friend.
No, it's not.
And again, Kevin Hart, Ed Helms, Nick Kroll, Thomas Middleditch. Like that is not a cheap cast.
Is this at the height of Kevin Hart's
2017
popularity?
Probably.
Okay. And honestly, I don't feel like they needed him for this. I don't feel like he brought his Kevin Hart isms to this movie, which is a good thing.
And I was going to say, can I argue that is I think I actually really enjoyed Kevin Hart's voice acting, his line delivery, the way he it's his voice, but he's changed it up just a little bit. I thought he actually did a really good job as George.
I did too.
And I think the reason I enjoyed it so much is because he did not bring any Kevin Hart into it. He wasn't Kevin Hart. He was George.
I agree. Because I kept waiting for him to go, oh, look how small I am. Wow, wow, wow. Just his stupid stand-up ridiculous.
Tell us how you really feel.
Redundancy.
We're not talking about his stand-up.
I know, but it's just him. Every movie I've ever seen him in, he's always got to be like, why am I so small? Meh. And it gets old. I'm like, no.
But for real, why is he so small?
Genetics. I don't know.
Gonna learn today.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so I guess to your point, could they have gotten someone like a Thomas Middleditch to do the role and they would have been just as fine? Yeah, probably. And I don't mean that as a derogatory comment towards Thomas Middleditch, but just like, especially in 2017, Kevin Hart probably carried a hefty price tag.
Right. And my thought was, are people going to this movie going, oh my God, it's a new Kevin Hart movie? No, probably not.
Probably not.
That was my main point there.
Yeah. But no, with the job he did, I'm all for it.
I think he did a good job. I'm not saying he didn't. I prefer him in voice roles.
That way, so you don't have to look at how small he is?
Yeah, I don't have to look at his tiny physique. But
no,
or then have to hear him talk about how tiny he is.
Okay, see though, okay. I don't know why you have spun us off on this weird Kevin Hart tangent. His physique is muscular and impressive. His stature is tiny.
That is true.
Have you seen Kevin Hart is jacked? Kevin Hart will fuck you up.
Never mind. Let's go on. Let's move on.
Kevin Hart, you want to jump on the show? We'll just kick Tevis off. I'll bring Sarah or someone back in, and we'll talk about your career, and we'll talk about your favorite movies.
He wouldn't be able to sit in this chair. His feet would dangle.
Mean. Kevin, I'm sorry.
I want to see him in a WWE match with Hornswoggle.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
I know that. What's his name?
That is his name, sir. Asshole. Major asshole.
The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by Tevis do not reflect Jake or anyone else attached to the Ticket Price Show or Ticket Price Show as a whole. And his thoughts, opinions, and reviews expressed are solely Tevis's and Tevis's alone. Now that legal disclaimer is out of the way, all right. Awards, 3 wins, 15 nominations, nothing huge.
Okay.
Do you want The Guardian or Ebert.com?
Oh, God. Well, let's get the bullshit one out of the way. So, Ebert.com.
Ebert.com. 3.5 stars. It's straight up ridiculous, and at its best, when it's cutting loose. Also, okay. I feel like Ebert.com, the writers at Ebert.com, are way more generous with stars than Ebes himself was. I'm not saying I disagree with the star rating, but I'm just saying if you look at it, I think statistically, Ebert.com has a higher average star rating in their reviews than Ebert himself had.
Yeah, I wish I'd know, like, is it one person writing for Ebert.com, just the movie reviews?
I don't believe so.
Or is it just a collect? Okay.
I think it's a team.
It's a team. Okay. That's probably why, because they just, Ebert, I think, was just a grumpy old man.
Coming from two grumpy old men
Yeah.
who have even reviewed grumpy old men.
But yeah, I don't know. I think with it, they just kind of pick and choose, hey, you're writing this one, you're writing that one.
Yeah.
Or maybe even the writers are like, oh, I really want to review this movie. And they already kind of like it anyway.
Yeah.
So might be a little unfair.
I don't even know if I'd necessarily say unfair. It just seems like Ebert.com, chances are it will have an overall higher star rating than like Ebert himself ever gave.
They need to settle their ass down and go back to what the owner of that name would do.
Give Fast and the Furious 3 stars while giving Die Hard and Gladiator 2?
Yes.
I don't know if we need to go back to that.
Go back to the ridiculous.
All right. The Guardian, 4 out of 5 stars. Really good-natured and unashamedly silly animated comedy. Everyone pretty much had rave reviews for this thing.
Except IMDb.
Yeah, IMDb 6.2. History. What is your history, if any, with this particular film?
I mean, I knew about the books. I knew they were a thing. I obviously never read one because I'm old as shit.
You predate
Yeah.
written word, but paint mammoth on cave. Great hunt.
Oh, look at penis I drew.
No, penis bad.
No, and I heard that they were going to make a movie about this, and I was kind of intrigued. And then I saw it was attached to DreamWorks Animation, and DreamWorks was always kind of hit and miss for me. They did Shrek, which was okay. I like Shrek. But then they did things like Turbo and Over the Hedge. Oh, man, what was the other one that was just a hot fire? Rise of the Guardians. But then they did How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. All 3 of them. And Kung Fu Panda, which is all 3 of them. Amazing. So I was a little on the fence about this, but.
See, I saw DreamWorks and I got excited, but I think I was thinking of their successes more than their misses. And honestly, I think their successes are bigger than their like they have more home runs than strikeouts.
Yeah, but they're not like Pixar. It was Pixar there for the longest time was just banger after banger after banger after banger.
Although, I mean, fair.
And I can't even think of off the top of my head the first one that I watched from Pixar that I was like, meh.
I'd have to dive into it. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
But there's so many from DreamWorks. I was just like, oh man, this looks cool. And then I watch it. I'm like, okay, no. But no, my daughter wanted to watch it. And I was like, shoot, let's give it a shot. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fun. And then we pulled it out of the hat.
You got to watch it again.
I got to watch it again. And I didn't know how I would feel.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah. What's your history with this film?
I have no history with this film. Actually, so obviously I'm not quite as old as Tevis, but then again, few are. I remember seeing these books all the time at like the Scholastic Book Fair at school and stuff like that. And I flipped through a couple, but I can honestly say I've never bought one. I've never actually sat and read one all the way through. It was just kind of like, I don't know. So when we pulled this movie out of the hat, I was like, man, I don't want to watch this. And I put it off. I put it off. And I put it off. And then it's
2 hours before recording.
It was yesterday, as of recording. I was like, oh God, I'm out of time. I have to sit down and watch it. And I'll save the rest for as we get into it.
Now, Dave Pilkey,
Yeah.
Did he also write the Dogman
I think
books?
so.
Okay.
Because it's the same art style,
Yeah, I think so. And there's another one with a cat. I don't know.
probably.
But my daughter really likes the Dogman.
Yeah.
Dogman books. So
Well, then shouldn't you know who wrote them?
no, I don't know who wrote them. I don't read them to her. She reads them herself.
Just going off of the art style, I'm assuming it's Dave Pilkey, but I don't know for sure
Okay.
because I am not up to date with the Scholastic Book Fair, as I have not attended one in many a decade, and I do not have children old enough to.
You'll get there. You're almost there.
Well, it'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen. So, diving into the film, I actually really enjoyed the intro and the comic panels and the introduction we get to Captain Underpants,
The Superman story.
the Superman
Yeah.
story. And everyone just kept stealing the last ship off the planet.
I really enjoyed those two, the kids,
George and Harold.
George and Harold, back and forth. He would come up with the idea, and then the other one would come up with the idea, and they're like, "Oh, it's a family. He's raised by a family of dolphins."
Wait, why dolphins?
He's like, I don't know. I'm the artist. You're the writer.
Why do you keep adding dolphins to this?
I thought those two, their back and forth was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
But I think a lot of that also goes into Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch having that chemistry.
I agree.
So then you were asking before, couldn't they have got someone who wasn't Kevin Hart? But then you run the risk of not having the same chemistry.
That is true. So pay him the money and you'll get it back, I guess.
Now, the origin comic of Captain Underpants gets snatched and torn to pieces by Principal Krupp.
What kind of an ass tears up somebody's creation?
Well, as he hauls them into his office, and he has signs on his wall like discipline and obedience, and a plaque on his desk that says "Hope dies here." I think that kind of ass. He even says they're like, "Let's just leave," and he hits a button, and it's just this big steel automatic closing, like prison door kind of thing. And he's like, "Yeah, I had a choice between either that automatic door closer or the arts and the music and arts programs, and I think I made the right choice here." And
yeah, he hates all things fun.
yeah, he just is the fun-destroying, life-sucking principal.
So he's the principal at
Jerome Horowitz Elementary.
Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do. And it took me, I went, because the first couple times they said it, it went past me. And then somebody said it, and I saw the sign, and I went, son of a bitch, I know that name. And I looked it up, I went, oh, God damn it! They attend Jerome Horowitz Elementary School, Jerome Horowitz being the real-life name of Curly from the Three Stooges.
Absolutely. I love that.
I was a big, big fan of that.
The first time I watched this, I totally missed that. I didn't catch that at all. But this second time I watched it, I was like, wait a minute. I was like you. I'm like, I know that name. Why do I know that name?
It's Curly.
Yeah. And I typed it in the computer, and the image popped up, and I'm like, no. And I had to do some reading. I'm like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Super does.
Great.
I love
Great.
that. I share a birthday with Jerome.
Oh, really? That's cool.
That's always been my thing. And they're like, show and tell. I'm like, yeah. And all the kids are like, we don't give a shit about the Three Stooges. I'm like, that's why none of us are friends. Anywho.
I share a birthday with Stifler from American Pie.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're literally the exact same age. We were born the exact same day on the exact same year.
Yeah, well, what your mother didn't tell you is that you were twins and you were separated. That's why you have that medallion, but it's only half of it.
Yeah.
Because Stifler has the other half of the medallion. One day you guys will meet and put them together and realize you're brothers.
It's going to be just like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
I'm not really sure which one of you is which, if I'm being honest.
I'm going to go on the limb and say I'm the shit. Yep.
Like
I'm
the
the
good,
shit.
like you're the shit.
I'm the shit. I'm the Danny DeVito.
Oh,
of the
you have
relationship.
you have garbage. What do you say? I'm trash.
I have
What's the
garbage
line?
jeans. I don't know what.
Yeah, no, they attend Curly Elementary School.
Yeah, I love that little nod.
And you know what? Can we just get more public buildings named after people who matter? Like Curly from the Three Stooges.
Absolutely, that would be great.
Also, when did like sports arenas and shit just start getting like this is the Priceline Excelsior arena or whatever? Remember when stuff had
Terrible.
cool names? Like I'm from St. Louis. I missed the Kiel Center, and it was the Kiel, and now it's like it's oh God, I can't remember what stupid, lifeless, soulless corporate name it has. Like, I hate this.
Well, even like the Busch Stadium was still cool.
Yeah, but at least Busch Stadium, that's local. Like that's part of it. You know, that's part of the city. That's part of the culture.
But yeah, what they're naming shit now, like it's just they just pick. Hey, let's pick like 3 different companies and combine it all into one.
And it's like
no. Nobody calls it that.
No, it's the Exxon Mobil oil spill arena and, fucking whatever. And I'm just like, God, this sucks. We need to go back to naming shit cool.
I agree.
So getting back to Captain Underpants, I actually really enjoyed as the principal is just yelling and shouting and his toupee keeps flying up and down off of his head with rage. I actually really enjoyed all the toupee gags in this because they were consistent and it worked for me.
When they're walking out of his office and it looks like a prison and it just the color.
They're going down the hallway and he's like, hey guys, oh hey Tommy. And then Tommy just walks right into his locker and closes the door.
And I've never felt so much of a connection with people in school as I have with this movie.
With Tommy?
Well, no, because when he's walking by one of the classrooms, the teacher's just standing there. It's like, class, memorize these dates. 1897, 1844. And it's just the most boring shit. It reminded me of my college days.
Yeah.
Where that's exactly the teacher would read word for word out of the book and follow all the examples. In one of the classes I took was web design. And she would literally read the book from top to bottom, left to right, every page. And every example that we did to work on was the ones out of the book. I've never felt so much of a connection with these kids in this movie before.
What an indictment on the school systems of America.
Yeah, I'm like, how much did I pay for this class? How much did I pay for this book? I could have just got the book and then been done.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have got college credit for it.
Yeah. How's all that college credit working out for you?
Oh, looked up my student loans today. Boy, that was fun.
You still have student loans?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I'm going to die with student loans. One way or the other.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I would like to take this minute to plug Patreon. We're on Patreon, and you can help pay off Tevis's student loan debt for just $3 a month.
And after I looked at my student loan debt, I signed up for OnlyFans. So I'm going to plug my OnlyFans. Okay, I'm totally kidding. Nobody wants to see that.
I don't know. People like a good bear.
That's true. That's true. Shit, maybe I'll do it.
Please don't shit on your OnlyFans. Don't degrade yourself that far.
What are we talking about?
Well, we're about to talk about jerking it with our own feet, but
I'm glad we're doing an animated kids movie.
And you brought up OnlyFans. I know. Didn't do it.
I'll have to edit some stuff.
Okay. So we get a montage of George and Harold's history of epic prank pulling. And man, some of those seem really involved and like they took a lot of work. Yeah, and some of them looked really dangerous. Yeah, like that tiger. Man, that's crazy. This movie geared towards kids had a lot of humor for the adults that work.
Yeah, and a lot of the humor too was like very quick when he would say something like Captain Underpants would. What was it he said? I'm about to take off like an ostrich or something to that effect when he jumps off the building onto the gorilla.
I am about to take flight like the mighty ostrich. And it happened so quick, but then if you stop and you're like, wait, ostriches don't fly, and neither does Captain Underpants.
So when he said that, I'm like, wait a minute, is that what he said? And I had to rewind it, and then I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that's what he said.
Yep.
I was like, that's pretty funny. I like that.
Yeah,
it's good. It makes you think. I like that.
So, but ultimately, we get George and Harold's backstory, how they meet, and their love of toilet humor.
There's a little bit of toilet humor in this.
You mean Captain Underpants has toilet humor? What?
Just a tad.
Just a scooch. Just a flush of toilet humor. Boom! They joked about how toilet humor, some call it the lowest form of humor. It's puns.
It is puns.
Puns is the worst. But they eventually George and Harold, they take it one prank too far, and they get caught by the surveillance frog.
Turtle.
The
tattle turtle.
The tattle turtle something thousand.
3,000.
3,000.
But
okay, actually, you know what? I want to talk about the tattle turtle for a minute. So it's a plush turtle with a nanny cam in the head, and it, is spying around. So they now have video proof of George and Harold pulling these pranks, doing this stuff, and now Principal Krupp can separate them and send them to different classes, right? And then George and Harold are like, we can't let do this. This will ruin our friendship. And they try to steal the turtle. And so they stage this thing where Krupp has to like run out of his office, and they sneak in and they're searching for the turtle. Because if they can get the tape, there's no proof. And they're looking, Krupp walks in, he's like, looking for this? And he hikes his pant leg up, and taped to his calf is the tattle turtle. He is like, we are never apart. Not even when I shower. And then it just cuts to the tattle turtle, who's now just frowning and has a look of horror on its face.
Like one single tear.
And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's the humor I'm here for.
When they are in his office looking for that turtle, there's a filing cabinet that they go through, and there's only 2 drawers on that filing cabinet.
One is school and one is George and Harold.
Yeah. Yeah. It says like everyone else in one, and then the next one is George and Harold.
George and Harold.
Yeah,
they have their own file in the cabinet.
Well, it's like when they walk out of the principal's office the first time, the 2 chairs next to it have a plaque.
There are plaques above the chairs, George and Harold.
Yeah, reserved for George, reserved for Harold. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I've been there. So,
and let's talk about Ed Helm for a minute, just for a quick. Between being the overly grumpy principal and the extremely dumb Captain Underpants, he sounds like he is having a blast.
He really does.
I would love to see video of the recording process.
And there's so much more to his performance than just tone, too. Because there's several moments in this film. So Hail Mary pass. They don't know what to do. George breaks out his hypno ring, and he's gonna try to hypnotize the principal, into so he won't separate George and Harold. And ultimately, it somehow works. And
it's from China.
Forged in the deepest, darkest basement of the toy factory. But they turn him into Captain Underpants. You're from China now. I forgot what I was saying. I forgot where I was going. What were we talking about?
Captain Underpants.
Oh,
Ed Helm.
So then they discover he's Captain Underpants. If he gets wet, he goes back to Principal Krupp. Snap their fingers, he goes back to Captain Underpants. So multiple times in the movie, there are moments where they're just switching back and forth really fast, and Ed Helms is just flip-flopping between the 2 characters. But his performance is so much more than tone. Like, there's so much emotion between just in both between the stupid but heroic and optimistic and friendly Captain Underpants and the angry, disgruntled, bitter, broken down, confused and afraid Professor Krupp. Like, his performance is so nuanced and it's so lively in very different ways. It's so impressive.
Yeah.
He does such a good job here.
I do. I love how happy and optimistic Captain Underpants is. Thank you, human woman. You know,
Some sidekicks.
it's so funny. It's so funny.
Are you sure that I have to be wearing these tight, restrictive clothing garments?
And I love every time he's in those clothes as Captain Underpants, like the tie is all
It's always
screwed
disheveled.
up.
He has no idea how to wear clothes.
No, but
The
as soon
pants
as
are way too high.
As soon as he turns back to the principal, everything he fixes everything, and
Yeah.
so you always can tell when he's Captain Underpants, even in clothes.
He
I
gets
love
his
it.
toupee back. He gets
Yeah.
his hair back when he's the principal.
You were talking about the water balloon gag that they did, where they threw all the water balloons up into the air, and then like one would hit him and he'd turn back to the principal, and then they would snap their fingers real
Yeah.
fast, and then the water, and then the finger, and then the water and the finger. That was super cool. I like that a lot.
So, I've got so many notes. Actually, I have a handful of notes that as I'm reading them, I'm like, I remember what this is, but there's no rhyme or reason to anything because I actually got really into this movie. We've mentioned it before. The best review I can get for a movie is I got so engrossed in it, I didn't really take notes about it. And so he's now Captain Underpants. But he's just a guy who thinks he's a superhero.
Oh yeah,
And is trying to do superhero things. And now George and Harold have realized, oh no, he's going to kill himself. And we need to try to prevent that.
That's when he jumps off of the building onto the inflatable gorilla.
I will destroy you, giant ape creature. Captain Underpants, please get down. You cannot fly. I can fly like the mighty ostrich. And he dives onto the inflatable gorilla at like the huge car lot or whatever.
Yeah.
I love how every time he becomes Captain Underpants, he gives his trademark tra-la-la. And every time it made me think of Frosty the Snowman. Happy birthday!
Really?
Yeah. Well, because every time Frosty comes back to life, happy birthday!
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, so every time Snowman gets the hat, Frosty wakes up, happy birthday!
Yeah, this movie's way better than the Frosty the Snowman.
That's true, but there's still a similarity there that I was talking about. Thank you for just crapping on everything like it's your OnlyFans. Thank you, Tevis.
There will be no crapping on my OnlyFans.
Tra-la-la! So the science teacher quits.
Right.
And a new one comes in. Professor P.
Professor P.
And at this moment in time, Captain Underpants is pretending to be a normal human school principal. And the professor comes in and he sets his briefcase down. He's like, yes, let me find that resume. And he's just pulling out medieval weapons. He has a battle axe and a mace and he's throwing shit. There's a chainsaw at one point. And he's like, oh, yes, here it is. And he's like, let's see. Obviously, you have teaching experience. No. And he's like, you have done seminars. Nope. You have babysat. Not even a little. Like, this guy has no credentials whatsoever, but he gets hired because you know what? Captain America's just that good Captain Underpants is just that good of a guy. That's America's ass in those tidy whities. I watched Captain Underpants, and that is America's big fat ass in those tidy whities.
That is not wrong there.
But no, Underpants is like, yeah, you're hired, right? And George and Harold are going, oh, God. But I do have a note here. I never gave this movie permission to use my resume. And I'm very disgruntled about that. And I feel like I should be paid.
Better email Dave Pilkey.
Yeah, David Soren. I want my money. You used my resume because it's just like, let's see here. This is looks like in the last few years you were incarcerated for attempting to blow up, like, and they just read this like typical super villain resume, and he's like, yep, that sounds great, you're hired.
Yeah, and the kids are like, underpants? No.
Professor Krupp, I don't think so.
But then Professor P's like, after he gets hired, he's like, oh, okay, thanks. I'm going to need every Friday off and every Tuesday through Thursday, every other.
He needs every Friday and every other Tuesday through Thursday to have time to work on his evil schemes, his evil experiments. Hope that's not a problem. Ta-ta.
And that reminded me of being a manager in retail.
And every employee
that you hire, oh yeah, I can work Saturday, no problem. I Sundays, I don't have anything going on. I love it. Then you get them hired. I need to change my availability. Oh yeah, when are you available? Tuesdays from noon to noon 30. Oh, thanks.
The dreaded noon 30 availability.
But I still want to get paid like 40 hours.
Yeah, I'm going to bitch and complain that I'm not making any money, but I'm going to refuse to work and beg to go home early every day.
You only work 30 minutes a day. I know, it's just getting too much for me.
They should really raise minimum wage. All right. How great is Nick Kroll in this movie as Professor P? And he gets some of the best lines in this movie because everyone else lives in this world, but he lives in this world but has a level of self-awareness or awareness in general that no one else has, and he just makes all the pointed one-liners that everyone else is thinking, like the audience-wise, what we're all thinking. He's like, well, that's oddly specific, or aren't you just a weirdo little kid, or whatever he's talking about.
What is it he said about the brain when he's talking about the kid's brain? And one of them is, as soon as I see someone else has a toy, I want that toy lobe.
Yeah. Oh, and this part of the brain is the only things I will eat are pizza, chicken nuggets, and ketchup anterior lobe. And over here is the crying for no reason hypothalamus.
Yeah, when he was going through that whole spiel, I was dying. I loved it.
It's so on point.
It is. And I had the joy of watching this with my child. So when that part came up, I just looked at her. Like, yeah, I've experienced this.
I just turned to my wife and she went, uh-huh. But that's what I'm saying. There's so much humor geared for the moms and dads watching this movie with their kids, and it works.
So, Professor P, before he became the school teacher, he invented the shrinking and
enlarging
ray. Is that what Wayne Zelinsky grew up to be from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
if he just became a suburban dad and not a megalomaniac.
Yeah.
Probably.
This is Wayne Zelinsky. This is Rick Moranis.
Yeah, if he was evil and had a I'm being laughed at disorder.
What was Professor P's full name?
Okay.
Do you remember?
Professor P's full name is P.P. Diarrhea-Steen Poopy Pants. I
don't know why he got laughed at.
No, can't imagine.
Yeah, no idea.
And then they laughed at him at the Nobel Prize Award as he was showing off his shrinking and enlarging ray. That's actually pretty good.
That was pretty good. Damn. Yeah, he was taking it so serious. He had his hair all nice and combed during that, and then they just make fun of him, like, just because you got a weird name. That's some bullshit.
Right?
Damn.
Hey, it was a totally normal, where is he from? Like, Swissland?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't catch it.
Swissland family name or something. It's just some vague European,
That's funny. I love the fact that this movie bounced back and forth from the 3D animation to 2D animation.
Whether it was comic panels, the flip book section.
The flip book section was really cool. And I really liked the hand puppet section.
Oh my God. I didn't see the hand puppet section coming at all.
I didn't either. And I loved it. And the different stores that were in the mall, like one of them was 24-hour bunion removal. Edna's Braziers. And I don't know why this one made me laugh, but everything except fabric softener.
We got everything you need as long as it is not fabric softener.
It just seemed like something some kids would make up.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was so cool.
And I think I have on there too, man, I have never, so they're it's because they're going through the sock puppet portion,
I'm wearing a
explaining
suit for some reason.
you're going to have a weird haircut. I'm wearing a suit for some reason. And we're not even going to know who we are anymore.
I don't know why that made me laugh so much.
Wait, why are robots attacking? I don't know. It's the future. There are always robots in the future. And they made it sound like it's this ridiculous thing. I quit going to malls because every fucking time I went to the mall, I was attacked by some kind of robot or animatronic, or the prosthetic store was horrifying. And I just stopped going to malls.
Yeah, so did everybody else. That's why malls are dying.
Because people were dying from the robots.
You ever seen the movie Chopping Mall?
No, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, well, it is. It's very horrible. It's one of those really cheesy B movies, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Chopping Mall?
Chopping Mall.
I see what they did there because it sounds like shopping mall.
I know.
But it's probably a slasher and everyone gets on. Puns are the worst. Absolute worst. So Professor Poopy Pants has an idea. Yes. Did you just fully lose it when I said Professor Poopy Pants?
No. Well, I did a little bit, but I was reading my notes and I forgot about one of the quotes. Professor Poopy Pants says,
Do the voice.
I can't do it. But he was talking to Melvin after he figured out Melvin has no sense of humor and how to get rid of the sense of humor for the rest of the kids. He's like, you have no sense of humor like a chair or a supermodel.
Like yeah, Nick Kroll gets the best lines in this movie.
Yeah.
Professor Poopy Pants is hilarious.
Absolutely.
I might rewatch this movie.
Hell yeah.
So, but yes, Professor Poopy Pants gets an idea. He is going to eliminate all laughter, all sense of humor in the world, so he will never be laughed at again. Can you remember the part of the brain that controls laughter?
No, I do not recall.
I believe, and I didn't write it down, but I believe it's something about, it's the ha-ha guffaw chuckleophagus. Something to that. It's the ha-ha guffaw chuckleophagus. Man, my impression is hot fire.
I love it. I love the name.
Thank you.
We'll go with that. I like it.
It's what do you mean we'll go with? I'm pretty sure that's what
I'm just saying. I don't know. You could be totally wrong.
Although, okay, I have a note here. Everyone in this movie really needs to look both ways before crossing the street. The number of people who are just nailed by cars. And the cars don't stop. They're just like, get out of the way, jackass! They don't say jackass, of course. It's a children's movie. Professor P gets hit like 4 times in a row. Just gets nailed one after another. Then a bus hits him.
Doesn't he say, "Oh, that was surprising," or something like that?
I think the kids say that.
I don't know.
George and Helen are like, "Well, that was surprising. That was surprising."
I have here on my list or on my notes, it just says lip balm. Just because of the way he says it, lip balm, or however he says, I don't know.
I will put you in my pocket next to my cherry lip balm and my
He has like 5 different
My
ones.
raspberry lip balm.
Because he doesn't grow them and like shoot them into the ground to
To trap the kids.
trap the kids. Yeah.
So ultimately, experimenting on Melvin and learning Melvin has no sense of humor, he gets the final piece of the puzzle to defeat humor. And he takes Melvin's weird toilet party thing. Melvin had the invention about the toilet that would like dispense toilet paper, and it had arms and played music. And I'm like, why are we spending this much time on toilets, guys? Just poop and get off the pot. So they enlarge it and then change it so it's like this giant evil robot that Professor P controls. So like that's his. So Professor Poopy Pants is taking over the city in a giant toilet robot.
Yeah, I love that whole part. I thought it was super cool when they would do the changing of the size of everything, and then it would change from, well, even when Professor Poopy Pants got big, and then was it George's hand got big? Harold's hand got big because he got shot in the hand, and then they shoot Professor Poopy Pants in the head, and his head gets small. Yeah, that whole back and forth.
Poopy Pants is reaching for the enlarging gun, but Harold with his giant hand slaps his hand. He's like, "Ow! You slapped my hand!" He's like, "Yeah, you reaching for the gun." He's like, "That really hurt. You have a giant hand." It's like, "Well, I have a giant hand because you shot me with the enlarging gun."
Yeah, I did not anticipate having this much fun with enlarging rays and shrink rays.
Captain Underpants, let us make a declaration. And I'm like, yeah. I don't even remember what the declaration was. It was
no idea.
The whole idea was like, we will now make a declaration.
So this is where he actually gets his superpowers.
So
Captain
Underpants attempts to fight the toilet robot and gets destroyed because he's just a normal guy. And then he gets swallowed by the giant toilet robot. So he's in the bowl, which is full of the toxic radioactive waste that they stole from the leftover section of the school cafeteria to power the robot. But while in there, he gains his superpowers and he actually becomes the Captain Underpants. And he begins fighting and he has his unlimited underpants power. And
yeah, he's shooting the underpants
he's
like slingshots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super funny.
So ultimately, they do finally stop Professor P, but they shrink him down, but he's escaping on a bee. And they're like, we got to catch him, da-da-da. And ultimately, is it Captain Underpants like slaps the bee and it just knocks it into the stratosphere and Professor Poopy Pants escapes. And they're like, you let the bad guy go. And he's like, I'm pretty sure that humble bee had no problems with us. Because he had
no idea.
He had no idea Professor P was riding on the bee.
Had no clue. No clue.
It's like P and B. I feel like there was a joke.
Professor P riding the bee.
I feel like there's a joke in there I missed. Or maybe I'm just looking into it too much. I'm not sure.
I'm going to say too much. We'll go with too much.
Maybe. My final note for the movie is Edith the Lunch Lady. So throughout the movie, we learn that Edith the Lunch Lady has a crush on Principal Krupp. And Krupp has the same feelings, but they're both so awkward that they don't know how to like interact like people. My favorite was when we first are introduced to Edith, she's standing outside the principal's door. They swing it open because he's yelling at George and Harold, and there she is standing there with like a tuna casserole. And she was like,
with his name on it.
So it's a tuna casserole that spells out his name in jalapeno slices or whatever. And she was like, yeah, I was just down in the cafeteria making you this tuna casserole. And then I looked down and it just had your name in it. And I thought, yay, I should take this to Professor like she's phrasing it in a way it's just this weird coincidence. It has his name on it, but she also says like, I was down there making this tuna casserole and I saw your name written in jalapeno slices. It's like she just said you were making it. Now, I want to say, though, Principal Krupp has no game. Captain Underpants has game.
Yes, he does.
Because while thinking... So Edith comes in while Underpants is pretending to be the principal. And they're talking, and he says something about her one gorgeous blue eye. And she's like, oh my goodness. And she sweeps her hair back to reveal, her other eye. And he's like, my stars! You have another equally as gorgeous blue eye on the other side of your face, hidden by the hair. And but like, he got game.
Yeah, and from that moment on, we only see her with her hair pulled back.
Yeah, because he complimented her eyes.
Absolutely.
And then they rush off to do whatever, and she's like, flirt alert. So they realize they're like, George and Harold being they. Professor Poopy Pants has stopped, but they're just going to have to deal with the consequences. They can't leave him as Professor Underpants, they can't leave him as Captain Underpants. He has to be Principal Krupp again. And they've just kind of resigned themselves to like, we're going to change him back and just deal.
It was a little sad.
It was a bitter moment.
Those two just sitting there talking about what they have to do. And they're like super sad. They're going to lose their friend.
Yeah.
Because I love when they're talking. They're like, man, he's so dumb.
He's just an idiot.
And Principal or Captain Underpants is sitting in the hammock reading the comic book, and he's just having the best time.
Because he's talking about these historical documents about my exploits. But they realize we got to turn him back. We have to make him the principal again. We'll deal with the consequences because our friendship will survive.
They're neighbors, after all.
They share a treehouse.
Yeah, they share a treehouse.
But at the same time, that idea of being moved to a separate classroom than your friends, that is a traumatic thing. Like, it's such a kid's way of thinking about that.
That's true.
And so I still appreciated that. Whereas as an adult, I'm like, that's not a big deal. But then I thought back to like, I can remember specifically it was 5th grade, and me and my neighborhood buddies, like the 3 or 4 of us, got the new year's lineup. So we were 4th graders going into 5th grade, and they mailed out the class lists. Me and two of the friends were all in the same class, and the 4th one was somewhere else.
Yeah,
and that was devastating because we had all been in the same class together forever.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see how that would be.
So it still works in the child mentality, despite the fact that we lived in the same neighborhood and we walked to each other's houses every day. And in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a big deal at all, but it felt like a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. But they were like, okay, we'll turn him back. And then they decided, George and Harold, to do something extra nice. And so they made essentially Valentine's Day cards, but they sent one to Edith from Principal Krupp, and they sent one to Principal Krupp from Edith, setting up a date. So it's like, hey, meet me at this restaurant at this time. I'd love to go out. And they're both like, oh my, and so they go and they have their date. But Professor Krupp, God damn, this is so hard. Why is it so hard? Principal Krupp. Now, looking forward, because he's not going to be alone, because we also learn he's kind of just a sad, depressed, lonely sad sack.
His house, where he has the setting at the dinner table for just him.
Just
and
him.
then turns the light on, and it's the 3 bulbs, but there's only one is working.
They go in his bathroom, and it's his towel, and next to that is still his towel.
Yeah, I love that he lives on Curmudgeon Boulevard.
And they were like, man, I thought this was going to be horrifying, but it's actually a pretty nice place. So they go, but as he's like, I was like, oh, I have a date with this woman I like, and he gives George and Harold back all their confiscated Captain Underpants comics, and he never signs the class separation slip. He just goes on his date. And while on his date with Edith, and they're having a lunch, and it's like, lunch lady Edith. Or Edith the lunch lady, and they're having this grand old time, and they're hitting off, and they're obviously going to get married, and just, have a great time. Then all of a sudden the radioactive toilet bowls attack, and it's classic Captain Underpants stuff. And they're like, "Oh God, what do we do?" And a guy gets chased out of the bathroom of the restaurant, gets eaten
Yeah.
by the toilet, and Krupp turns. He's like, "Check, please," and he snaps because George and Harold destroyed the hypno ring, and they believed that was gone. The spell was broken. But when Krupp snaps his fingers for the check so they can escape the toilet monsters, he turns back into Captain Underpants and just immediately rips his clothes off. And you see Edith get hit in the face with his pants. And she was not upset about that, brother. She was like, "Ooh, Principal Krupp."
Oh my.
She would. I'm not even going to say she would, because she may have put out on the first name. She was into what he was selling.
She likes the crump.
Yes, she does. But Captain Underpants, still with full power, with his sidekicks, tra-la-la, and they, the bowling sound effect as he crashes through the toilets, and they all disperse, and the adventures continue. Why is there not a sequel yet?
I was just about to say the same thing.
I want a sequel. I want more.
It's been what? 7 years, 6 years, 7 years?
7. It's been 7 damn years. I want Captain Underpants 2.
Yeah, I'm
If
right
it
there with
is this kind of humor and portrayed in this way, in this quality, I want Captain Underpants number 2. This movie made more than enough money to qualify for a sequel.
And they could call it Captain Underpants number 2.
You know what? Yes, they could.
Then they better.
And it would be a big brown 2.
Yeah, a big brown 2. So are we doing final thoughts already?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we're there. Do you want to start or do you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
I never really read the books. They didn't really appeal to me. I'm like, I get it. It's it's a big fat guy in his underwear. Meh. And I put off watching this movie for so long until I literally had to watch it. I was out of time watching this movie. And I watched it, and I enjoyed every second of it. This movie had me laughing the whole way through. What a fantastic... It's funny for the kids. It's funny for the parents. It's ridiculous. It's self-aware of its ridiculousness, but not in a... The self-awareness is also funny, not in like a, we're going to belittle our own movie. We're just going to use our self-awareness to make jokes about the silliness, but not in a self-deprecating way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like, it all works for me. The characters work. I'm in. I have never in my life been into Captain Underpants until now. And I want a sequel. I regret, had I realized how much I would enjoy this movie, I would have never put it off, right? And this is one of those movies that makes me glad that we do this show, because I would have never in my life watched this movie had we not pulled it out of the hat. And I realized, man, I would have missed out so hard on a movie I genuinely enjoy, like wholeheartedly, good-naturedly, genuinely enjoy this movie, and I would have missed it. So, is Captain Underpants worth the ticket price? 100% for the parents and kids alike. Everyone will enjoy this movie, unless you're so like pretentious and up your own ass, in which case I don't want to talk to you anyway.
Okay. So this movie for me, when we pulled it out of the hat, I was a little disappointed. I had seen this before and I remember enjoying it, but at not a level of, I can't wait to watch this. And you're spot on.
I always am.
This
Fuck you, Indy.
No, this movie is so good. The cast is great. The characters are great. When we do the top 10 best and worst characters for this grouping of movies that we're coming to, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the best. It's going to be tough for the worst. But no, I had so much fun rewatching this movie, just catching the humorous moments that I had missed, or even just rewinding and going back. Wait, did he actually say what I thought he said? Or and it was fun watching it with the kid. Just hearing her laugh and toilet humor. It's toilet humor, but it's not overdone. It's not gross out toilet humor.
It's like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not going to word this right. Everything has a scale, right?
Oh, yeah.
And this is like elevated toilet humor, not like jackass toilet humor.
Right. Exactly. It's toilet humor that I'm not embarrassed to sit next to my child with.
I'm not embarrassed to watch alone. I'm going, why am I watching this?
Yeah, that too. I think I want to watch the TV show because there's a series.
There's a series?
I believe it's on Netflix. I'm not 100% sure. But
oh man, we're gonna need some kind of news bulletin on that one. Breaking news.
I'm with you too. I want a sequel to this.
I want a sequel. I want Captain Underpants and the big number 2.
Big number 2. Yes. And you guys out there writing this movie, you can steal that from us. We're fine with that.
Yeah, you can totally use that title. Captain Underpants and the big number 2.
So yeah, this movie is 1,000% worth the ticket price. I will watch this again and again and again.
Yeah, I think I don't. Like my wife usually sits and watches the movies with me, but she was busy doing other things and trying to get some stuff ready. We had company over the following the day after we watched, so the next day we had company over. So she was busy doing that and she didn't really care enough to watch it. So I don't know if she really enjoyed it or appreciated it like I did, but I think a lot of that also has to do with she did not sit and watch it like I did.
Right.
Damn, this is such a good movie. And we're always talking about like the Young Guns or the whatever, where it's like, yeah, we used to like this movie and then we watch it for this damn show and now we don't. And it's like, this is a movie I would have missed entirely. And I was wrong for that.
I like that. I like hearing that.
We finally did something right on this show. About time. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut, right?
Right.
All right. Anything else? Good sir.
No.
All right then.
Just go watch this movie.
Hat time.
I don't want to.
You want me to do it?
No, I'll do it.
All right.
All right. I don't want that color. I don't like that color. That's an ugly color.
I like how we were joking about this earlier. I had peeked in the hat while he's digging around. I had peeked in the hat because you had folded the paper the wrong direction and you had the Hulk on green paper. And I'm like, you intentionally, just admit you purposefully wrote the Hulk down on green paper, which is in and of itself is corny. And I love it that I know that was a conscious choice you made, but then you folded the paper the wrong way. So the name's sticking out, you doofus.
Well, you're not supposed to look in the hat when you pull it. You're supposed to just, dig your hand down in there.
I know, but we were eating dinner and it was on the table and I went, is that handwriting? And there's the Hulk.
Okay.
All right. What you got for me?
It's a comic book movie.
We just did a comic book movie.
Well, we're doing another one.
Oh, no. Wait, are we about to tear the Band-Aid off the MCU? Oh, man, are we about to do the Avengers? I don't know if I'm ready for that.
God, I wish it was the Avengers. No, this is the DCEU.
No. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to do it. This goddamn show.
It's not Superman. It's not the Flash. It's not Wonder Woman.
We're running out of people.
It's not Aquaman. It's Black Adam.
Who?
Black Adam.
I don't know if you can just say that. Oh, is this the one with the fucking rock?
Yes.
God, you mean the movie that killed the DCU?
Yes.
Oh my God. I don't want to watch this. Redo. Mulligan.
No.
Mulligan.
No,
I don't want to do this.
Have you seen this before?
No, I have. Okay. The only is it DCEU?
Yes.
DCU?
DCEU.
Okay. What is the E?
I don't know. Extended universe, I think.
Sure. Okay. The only movie from the DCEU.
They couldn't do the DCU because that'd have been too close to the MCU.
Jerk off. The only movie from this franchise that I've seen was Superman Man of Steel, because I was working for a company at the time that was giving away free tickets, and they gave my wife and I 2 free tickets, and that's the only reason I saw Man of Steel. And I remember afterwards, I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's like, what'd you do? And I was like, oh, Anna and I went and saw a movie. What'd you see? Superman, Man of Steel. How was it? And I was like, well, Kevin Costner and Russell Crowe play Superman's dads. And he goes, wow, they gave Superman gay dads played by Kevin Costner and Russell Crowe. And I went, I'm not going to lie to you, the movie probably would have been better if they had. I said, no, Kevin Costner was his human Earth dad and Russell Crowe was his Krypton dad. But now in my head, I can never think of the DCEU Superman without his gay dads, Kevin Costner and Russell Crowe.
Which one's the bottom?
I think they alternate.
Kevin Costner.
Probably Kevin Costner. I was trying to be alternate. I'm not going to say what they're into. Just, Henry Cavill Superman's gay dads.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, he was like, wow, I was like, that's cool. I didn't know they gave him gay dads. I went, oh no, but I totally see how your mind went there with how I phrased that. No, because Oh no, I take that back. I've seen 2 DCEU movies because I'm about to make a joke because Anna went and made me see one and it was complete shit. But
Suicide Squad?
Superman, no.
Oh.
I will never. I don't care. Okay, they made a shitty movie that they then completely remade and rebooted like 3 years later into another shitty movie. Suicide Squad as a comic series is shit, full of shit characters no one talks about. Hey, we got a bunch of garbage. Let's just pile it all together and make a new garbage comic series out of it. Suicide Squad sucks. Regardless, it's not Suicide Squad. Superman can't have 2 gay dads because he needed a mother, and that mother's name had to be Martha. Because if his mom's name wasn't Martha, then Superman would not have told Batman, you've got to save Martha. And then Batman would have been like, why did you say that name? Martha! Martha! As Ben Affleck's gun-toting murder spree fucking Batman kills a bunch of people with fucking guns screaming about Martha. These movies are shit. And now I gotta do the shittiest one of them all. Shit Adam.
It's Black Adam.
I don't feel comfortable saying that.
Okay, well, we're in for a good time next Friday.
Oh, I'm coming for you, DC. I'm coming for you. You're just staring at me. All right. Hold on.
Oh, shit.
Hold on. Tra-la-la! I'm happy and positive again. I'm happy and positive, Jake, in a happy and positive movie podcast called Ticket Price. And over there is my faithful sidekick, Tevis, drinking his water while I do this. We would like to thank you all for listening. We ask you to follow the show. We ask you to rate the show. And if interested, we have a Patreon. If nothing else, tell your friends about it. And remember, ra-la-la! Fucking DCEU mother...